Welcome to the Round 13 FTTV podcast. On the agenda today, how we went, as usual, some FAQs from the Discord, and this time of year, buys and finishing the team. We'll go over some questions around that. We'll touch on a few rookies, probably the last rookies we'll get. That's not loopholes that we need the cash from potentially. Targets off the buy, including a few mid prices, few in the 400k range. I think 3 or 4 that we'll touch on, and as usual. El Capitano's at the end. Enno, new setup for you. How you going? And how'd you go this week?
Going all right, mate. Late home from work, walk in the door at 7, get something to eat, pretty hungry, walk upstairs, say I'll jump on the pod, and then go to plug my mic in and pull the USB out, and half of it just comes out with it and it's completely stuck and can't plug it into the computer. So half of it's, it's like back half of the PS5's inside that and can't plug it into anything. So killed 2 birds with 1 stone there. I don't know when I'll be bothered dealing with that, but that's for another day. So I thought, why not? We'll sit on the couch, fuck. Get back, it's a bit sore sitting the computer. Already done it all day. Well, I've already sat at the computer all day. I'm not, why not? I don't have to. I'm not doing it again. For my week, though, what I scored, 1993. It was, I think you said it too, is a pretty bad buy for you. It also kind of was for me with, both Saints half back, Sinclair and Nass out, Clark and Sarong out. I don't have Andy, so that's a bit different for those that do. But then also, Horn Francis holding him, and then we all had Baz sort of as laid out. And then Matty Roberts. So it was like 7 sort of primos out, or 7 good scorers out. 4 that you knew were going to happen, and then the 3 that sort of I knew Horn Francis was probably likely to miss. We knew that sort of heading into this week. But yeah, you said it, I think, on your videos, like with Baz and Matty Roberts out, it just made me have to cop actually 2 shit scores. Like all my primos did really well. I just had to cop Carroll and who was the other one? Pedler. So Pedler and Carroll, 2 30s, and just that's the difference between me going like over 2100 or whatever, and just sat under 2k. Because if we're talking about MVP, it's one of those weeks where it's sort of tough to pick. Max Holmes 150, Cherry is captain, but that's not as much of an MVP when large majority have him. But TDK came back to form, which is good. We both probably have to have Sheldrick in there, wouldn't we, George, for that 109, which is very handy.
Needed that. Like a week like this, we needed that very badly.
Tom Green even popped a 140. I didn't catch the game, but that was nice to see. I think he had a 60-point last quarter. Checking on footy scores, you can sort of see by the quarter he must have had a big last. But yeah, I guess we'll talk about my trades. That's probably the weirder one. The premium that I was bringing in was very up in the air all week. How much do I spend? Caldwell 440 was obviously quite a popular one, and it gives you a bit of cash, especially for someone like me who's struggling a bit to sort of spend this week. Obviously, Lindsay getting subbed out. Carroll, I probably don't even know if I'll cash him, but Shannon Neal, that's been a horrible 2 weeks. Only 660 last week against West Coast, and then he's actually going all right without doing much. Had a few tackles in the first quarter, was on 23 or something, and then did something to his ankle or whatever, so he'll be out. Have to trade him. Don't even get to play Essendon next week. So that was bad. Lost a bit of cash there. So I was like, I had to go someone cheap. I really actually liked the look of George Hewitt, or liked his form, especially back half of last year, started this year. Had a bit of a dip the last few weeks. That's why he's getting a bit cheaper, but I opted to go for my boy, Sammy Walsh. I'm a sucker for this man. Every year, he's sub 500k, and I know he can do a lot better than what he's doing. And he actually watched probably the second half of that game, I think. I missed a bit of the start, sort of out and about on Sunday, and then he wasn't doing amazingly well. I think he had a decent first half. Not much of the third quarter, and I think he scored like 30 points in the last 3 or 4 minutes, George. Close game, got a bit of that. But I think the main positive was, he's getting his touches. He's not, I think he had a few bad clangers from, when I was watching, or a couple bad kicks. But at least better efficiency, by his standards. And his mid-time was up. Like, I know the Chero had a bit of a head knock, so he was out for a bit. Cripps, I think I heard Vossi say, spent the whole third quarter in the forward line, so who knows what's going on there. But his CBAs have been like 70, mid-70s. So, look, it's 1 week. He's been getting 50 to 60 most weeks. Does it hold? I don't know. Nice couple matchups coming up. I just didn't want to go for Caldwell. I don't think. Like, I trust him even less, I guess, with his body and that. And I really can't afford to trade sort of someone out. Once, I'm going to be going low on trades, George. So I don't know about you, but I can't really get someone that's as injury prone as Caldwell. And there was a bit of, like, with Parrish coming back, I wasn't sure. So that was enough for me to just go, nah. And then I just went for Walshy instead. But hey, who knows? And then I brought in, I think it was pretty standard last week. Went for, who did I go? I went for obviously Clark, and then went for Pedler. So I don't know whether I need his cash or not, but hopefully he just holds in case I do. The long-winded way of saying I went all right on a bad bye week, so hopefully the next two I can go all right because I won't be struggling at all. I think most will be all right for the next couple, George. That last one is where people might be struggling the most.
Yeah, Brizzy boys and
on
Giants. Yeah.
So we'll see, mate. Maybe come out of the bye as well, but I'll be low trades. I'll be hanging on for dear life, and yeah, we'll see where we go. But how'd you go, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Like you, my rookies actually showed up. Like Clark, 70 counted. Sandy Brock, unbelievable, 70 when I needed him the most.
Pick of the year.
Yeah, a bit lucky, but and then Sheldrick 109. So, and then just it's one of those things where it's like, surely Lindsay can do all right and Carroll can just hold his price, but he kind of did. I lost a little bit of money, so now I'm at the point where I'm not even going to cash him in. It's like sort of ruined my trade plan. So I was like, just forget it. I'll just wait for Clark instead for his money. But yeah, that Lindsay is just like, you just know that you just need him to, not lose too much cash, and then gives away 50, gives away free. Comes back on the ground, gives away a free, starts running off to the bench, and I'm like, we're done here. Good. And he got subbed off. But no, he's been good for us. Just the timing would have been nice to get rid of him a week before. So my trades, I brought in Bont, Clark from Essendon, and Cordwell for Levi, Flynn, and Philippou, who they said would be okay. And he's not. He's TBC. So who knows what's going on there. I hope he gets his body right. But yeah, Bont was disappointing, 101. I thought he was playing good in the fourth quarter, but his team was just not performing in the fourth. Hawthorn sort of ran on top of them. He's dropping money, I guess, in this sort of climate. Yeah, probably should have gone elsewhere, but like off the bye as well. I wasn't really sure who else to get. Maybe a Max Holmes to finish the defense would have been nice, but I kind of penciled in Nass for that spot because he was 500k. And Cordwell, no, he was fine. The role was good. Lots of like a lot of his, like we speak about Sheldrick, a lot of his hack kicks sort of were effective because they just went the right way. Whereas I think Cordwell, a lot of his like clearance kicks or handballs when there's like 10 bodies under like on the ground, they all like so many of them were like clangers or ineffective. So I think that hurt his score. Like his DT wasn't too bad, but his CBAs were actually up in the 80s. So it was Merritt and Martin. They're two best players who are clear best two. Maybe Cordell you can say is like not too far off, but like they're best players out of the midfield. I guess team balance and they can play anywhere, but man, whips are cracking. Who do you want in that midfield? Your best two players probably, but that's how it goes. So yeah, rank 2000 something, like low 2000s, and then scored 1973. So that's how I went. Can we touch on McKercher for a moment? Were you following this in Discord? I think you might have been out.
Yeah, I wasn't. I watched early in the week, watched Tigers, and then sort of, as from Saturday night onwards, didn't catch much footy until caught the end of the Sunday night game. But did we quickly say our MVP and fault? I think I said Holmes would be mine. Fault, like, I guess just those rookies you mentioned, I guess, Lindsay and like Neil for me, just losing a bit of cash. There wasn't many bulk premiums this week. It's quite a good week for a lot of trade-ins, a lot of premiums. So one of the highest scoring buy rounds, even if people were struggling. And that's why we said like copping those low scores really was the difference this week. But no, McKerch, I mean, I saw all this noise, I think, like during the week about halfback and something or other. But yeah, maybe if I was in the Discord, I might have switched Walsh to him if I was on about and active and whatnot. But yeah, I did, like the game was on I caught up with a lot of friends I haven't seen in a while because we're all busy these days on Sunday. And the game was on. I wasn't fully like watching it, but I, checked the stats. I saw like West Coast dominating. I'm like getting into my North mates, just who weren't there. Like, what is going on? You're losing the inside 50s by bloody 30 or whatever.
Conceded 60 inside 50s.
Then I just saw like Daniel killing it, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to keep not watching this game. It looked like shit anyway. So, but yeah, I did see Kurt just absolutely just racking it up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What happened?
So this is what happened in the Discord over the week. Some people want me to retell how this happened. So it's like an absolute car crash of how it came about. So I was going to bring him in. So I was going to bring him in the morning, had him loaded in the morning, and then someone posted, his name's BCF. He's going to love this attention. Someone posted that he said he has a source that Fisher is back and McKercher is forward. Now, he had the correct source. He retyped it, and he retyped it wrong. He got it the wrong way around.
God.
So I'm an idiot. I believe that
if you guys
don't
know
checking
who listen or watch, who aren't in the Discord, if you get a source wrong in George's Discord, it's almost curtains. You may as well just get the new email ready because you're out of there.
I said I gave him a month off. And I said if McKercher goes 150, you're done for good. But no, I'll let him back in it. Like it happens, but like that's my bad for not double checking. So yeah, I was going to watch him
KO pre-game. Did you try and get a look or what?
I don't know what I was. I think I was doing meal prep or something. I just did something else because I was like, I'll just go quad. Don't worry about it. What's worse was, Dos from the Lair podcast?
Like Dos, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was asking me about McKercher, and I said I'm not confident enough in the role. I think he was going to go him, and I think I scared him off him by saying that because of what I read into the fake sources. So if he's watching, I'm very sorry about that. It's just it's so bad. And I think like if North explicitly said McKercher's playing halfback this week, because they already said Sheezer's already said we're going to settle players in position after the bye reset. If they said McKercher's playing halfback, like we would have probably all gone him because we know he did 105 last year.
Yeah.
In this, I think it might have even been. I think Abs tweeted today was 110. Yeah, it's. I didn't actually look at the numbers exactly because there's a few like muddy as an injury game there and stuff like that. But I looked at it and it was 105. So it was 105 to 110 in this role. So 330k, you take that on kick-ins, and North they just concede lots of scores. So it's just like they didn't. They said he wasn't essentially the half forward wing role wasn't working, and. This was Drew Jones as well. He's a good journo. So, but he didn't explicitly say that he was playing halfback, which was where
I saw Drew Jones at the pub. What was that?
Really?
Yeah, in South Melbourne. I said
to
my mate, I'm like, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah. I think I don't know if he wanted to keep it to himself, but he pretty much gave every hint away that he was playing halfback without saying he was halfback. But yeah, you just had to read between the lines and then actually watch the pregame where he was lining up. And for some reason, I didn't do it, but it says settle for Cordwell and he's got the bye. But I'm going to grab Coach this week, but we'll touch on him. But that's enough. I think that's a very long 14-minute intro without saying anything. But we'll move on. We'll get through this. Yeah. So a couple questions from the Discord. We get this every year. How many trades are you willing to go down to? Like, people are looking at some players that they don't want. Like people are worried about Zorko, for example, like because of age and whatever, or whoever. Doesn't matter, whichever premium. Maybe you want to jump off your premium. You want to luxury trade somebody in. How many trades are you willing to go down to just say, no, that's enough. We're just going to leave this for the rest of the year.
Well, willing and able is to, different things, George. Like I could go to like 4 and have Shelley at flex for the rest of the year, or say he gets to a nice number. Maybe I've got a tiny bit of 50K in the bank and flip him to someone and go down to 3. This is my situation. Everyone's different, but no, I've again burnt too many trades, flipping rookies, flipping a couple premiums earlier in the year, which I always do stupidly. So that, you make your bet in that sense. Like I'm going to be down to 3 or 2 at the, like if I decide to use some like Clark or something and get Shelley up to someone really good, I'll have 23 premiums, but I'll have like 2 trades. So it's like, am I willing to go down to that? I mean, you should be more willing than the past to go down to that because we have the flex and we have, an extra score that drops off the rest of the year. Not that we'll have much bench cover, I wouldn't imagine, but the flex does give you a bit of a cushion. But again, like it should really be like probably 4 like injury trades for the rest of the year. Like it's still a long time left. We said that last week. We're only just over halfway, and to get injury luck down the stretch, they tend to happen more as well later in the year, I guess. Or look, I'll be going down to probably 3 at least. It's just whether or not it's 2, and that's just not really that good. Like that's way too low.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be like at around 16. So by then it's like 8 weeks, but still, it's very, very dicey.
Yeah. I'll be going down to 4, and I feel okay with that. In previous years, I've gone down to 3, and then like I've done like luxuries with 4 weeks to go using my last trade, which is dumb because look at last year. We lost, was it the year before? We lost Nick. Was it Sheasel last year that did his ankle, or was that the year before? Either way, Houston got 5 week suspension, so I was copping a donut in the last round. So you want to avoid that. Like a lot of hard work to get these points back, and then you just piss 100 down the drain. But yeah, there is flex spot as well.
Yeah.
So I'll be going down to 4. I think if you really wanted to push your luck, you can go for 3, but I wouldn't go lower than that. I think 4 to 5 is where you probably want to be at. If you have more, great. But it's been a tough year with cash gen.
Yep.
So your situation, I think you're going to have 22 primo and then a rookie in Sheldrick. Some people are going to be in this position. Are you able to get him up? So you're able to get him up to, if you like go down to 2 or something. But do you feel comfortable with that, or do you think it's going to hurt badly post buy?
I guess with Shelley, it'll really just be play it by ear. Like if he's, what was his CBAs last week? Like 60s, in the 60s.
Yep.
Like, do I just hold that? Like I could just hold that and see what he gets to. Maybe he drops a poor score and we might, look like he start tanking, and then there's only 5-6 weeks left, and I'll just go stuff it. Give me whoever's like a nice cheap option. It'll all depend who I get as my 22nd premium, which for me is like either obviously flex, so anyone, or an F6. Like I'm kind of treating F6 as my flex at the moment because I'm like, who do I really get? Like I traded McRae out, so do I get McRae back in if he's cheap enough? Can't afford a Jackson, obviously, no way. Can't afford who's the other one I'm missing? I mean, the Shea Bolton, who's like just under 500, but like I'm thinking, do I turn? It just doesn't really work, but like if I get McKercher, I can't really get Mills as well because I mean through the buys will be fine, but as soon as the buys end, then I've got my F6 will still be a rookie or a peddler or a bloody someone like that, and I'll have 7 defenders that I can't I'll have too many mids and defenders to where I can't get all of them on field in when the buys are done. So it's like I think I have to pick McKercher or Mills. And then, as I said, then I've got F6 and flex sort of left. And it's like, do I just target a real cheap forward, or do I just get Mills and then see what I can get Peddler up to? Like, it's a bit annoying, but to be honest, I don't really think I could get what other forwards are there that are kind of cheap. I guess Chad's coming down, but to be honest, that's the reason I faded him. I don't really want to go near that.
If you don't have Horn Francis.
Yeah, which is the one I held. So Yeah, we're gonna sell. I think for me, it's just play Shelley by ear, George. See what he gets to,
Yeah.
how he goes, and then if it looks like he's topped and he's starting to tank or drops a really poor one or role changes or sub or whatever, then I'll flip him
Yeah.
and use a trade or hopefully just one, but might have to be two, and then I'm going down to 2 trades.
Yeah.
It's a bit pricey, but
There's a few mid prices available, which we can just touch on now. Before we go to that, Matt Roberts, what do you think he averages for the rest of the year, and do you think you can keep him?
this is makes it so hard now because I was happy to keep Matty. It obviously sucks he missed the Richmond game. But with what happened with like your Neil and Lindsay this week for me, losing cash there. And then obviously Kirch popping up as an option. I think I'll be trading him. And I'm sort of justifying this. Like, I really don't want to. I think a lot of people in the boat have been for a long time. I'm flicking him at his buy. And I was always like, oh, I'm going to see how he's going. And, I still think he can do 95 to 100. But Mills playing back there the week just gone. And it's really hard. Impossible read against Richmond. I don't take anything away from Sydney in that game. We showed up for one quarter after giving everything last week against GWS. And then they have the bye. So holding through his bye and then not knowing what they're going to do after it makes it really hard. Like, are they going to bring him in for Bice? Or are they just going to bring him in for someone else? And then there's him, Bice, Mills back there. Cunningham came back in the team. Yeah, Bice played a bit of wing, I guess, but Sue will get a heap of the ball flooding back. So, yeah, if Matty's not getting like his 25, 30, 25 plus, and he's just getting like 18 to 20 a week, that'll really hurt him. And maybe he has to, like, he's actually one of those old guys we just said that defends a bit. I guess Mills does a bit too, but he'll probably mostly, if he's back there, will be playing the sort of distributor and interceptor +1 role. And I think Matty will be one actually locking down on someone. So I think that's how I'm justifying trading him out this week, which I wasn't going to until other things popped up, and I'm justifying it a certain way. But
gone for me.
Duxie missed this week. What illness does his body get, man? Like, far out. What has he eaten during the week or something? What happened? He would have scored it big time easy, but anyway.
Yep, gone for me. I don't like how well Mills and Blakey played, so gone for me.
Yeah, Blakey too.
Comfortable. I don't think he'll do 100, but I think mid to low 90s is probably his range. So gone for me. So Callum Mills, I'm not planning for it. I prefer McKercher. It was against Richmond. I guess the dribbility is diabolical here, which is a factor. But no, he looked good. And we don't really know what the role is. I think in this preseason we thought we were buying a midfielder, but he's a defender at the moment. And they put McInerney in there, they put Sheldrick in there, they put Warner in there, they put Heaney in there, they put whoever else in there. There's one more I'm missing. Gordon's come back soon. I think I'm not sure we get the mid role. So I think we're going to get a defender role, if I had to guess. And for me, he's probably like, I don't know what he is in this role. I think he's done 95 to 100 in previous years. I think he's like the best for his price at 350. I think he's fine. Even if you can, like, I know this is far-fetched for most, but him as like a 24th, you go to McKercher. Instead of going, like, you're planning for 550k defender primo, instead of that, you go McKercher and a Mills. Like, I think that could be okay. Decent strategy. I'm okay. Like, this is after his buy as well, which is this week. So I'm not going to go there. I think McKercher has a bit to do with that, but I think that's like, it's okay if you want that. Are you planning for him?
I think I was until McKercher showed up, and then, as I said in a long-winded way before, like, I already have. Like, I'll have to sit Shelley at my flex, right? And I've already got 6 defenders, so it's like, how do I could bring Mills in, as I said, as a 7th, but then that, and it'd be fine for the last couple of buys, but then once, buys are done, I'll have to lock myself into trading Shelley to some forward, or I don't know. I think I'll go, like you said, Colby popped up. I think I like him better, and that's where I'll probably go.
Yep. So I'll be going with McKercher this week. As I said before, 105 to 110. He did last year, and last year a lot of injury interruptions too. He's been fully fit all year. So I'm gonna get 35, lots of kick-ins, so 35 touches. I mean, so he's in for me at 390k, and a lot of people like struggling to finish their team. I think this is the perfect opportunity. Break even's pretty low as well, so if something does happen, which I don't think it will, because we saw Sheasel. It was either with Hamish McLaughlin or SEN. I think it was SEN because he does a segment on Dwayne's World every, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. Basically said we're looking to settle players in position for like the rest of the season. There's been too much flicking. Ironically, Sheasel started forward and they shifted into the midfield mid-game, which is a good thing for Sheasel. Probably makes him a target now. Role improved, so I think that holds. And that says to me that if they want to keep players in position, well, McKercher, it hasn't worked all year for him. Now, just keep him there, I think. I think that's what they do.
Yeah.
Last one, Sam Doherty. He's moved to halfback. His 3-round average in the VFL was 150 odd. Halfback. There's an article where he said he spoke to Voss about settling him down back. I thought he played okay. There are times where he does look his age, like the ball hits the deck, kind of fumbled a few times. So, but otherwise, I think like the role's pretty good. The fixture's great. Spoke about, you brought in Walsh, but I'm sure you looked at the fixture as well coming up. I think it's West Coast North next to. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
The fixtures are really good there. I don't mind it. I think it's the problem is he's mid only, but he's going to continue in this role, and you'll get DPP end at round 18.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go there, but I actually don't mind it.
What is he? 3? Oh, he's 400. 403.
13 break evens. It's essentially a cash cow.
Yeah, of course, but I just been a good player, Doc. When McKercher's there and Mills are there, I think they're ahead of him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
mean, I think in the back of my mind is could they just sub him off at some point? Because they subbed him off and he was playing VFL early in the year.
Yeah.
I think it's not out of the realm, so I'm not going to go there. But I think if he plays like he did the last couple of weeks, I don't think he'll see the best. So just has to play like that. So there are a few cheap guys for you guys to look at. I'll be going, we're going McKercher.
Yeah, most likely.
So rookies, a few here. Johnson looked good for Essendon. I need to check the injury lists, but I think he sort of got a bit more opportunity with Redmond being out. I think he'll play the next 2, but after the bye, I think they'll get a few of their tools back and maybe they shuffle things around because they're playing short of tools, so someone has to go out for a tool. I'll probably go there this week.
There's an update.
Really,
I think
I don't think I'll need his
money. So pretty much everyone's like 3 weeks. Ridley, Redmond, Langford, Zachary, Al Hooley, whether he gets in or not, but they're all 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Supposedly, and then the rest are all TBC all season.
Is he in your plans this week?
He was, but I think there's news maybe McCarthy gets a debut, and I'll probably just take the 20k. I don't think I'll be cashing in Johnson.
Yep.
So
I got to think about that too. I'm not cashing him in. Just maybe get a fluke score the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're worth 14k.
I think
15k.
Yeah, probably. I think the reason is McCarthy. He didn't play last week because he went back to Vic, and then he's straight in this week. It means they've probably given him the year. Obviously see how he plays, and we can't predict someone playing out the year, but I think where Johnson will probably be out of the team in 3-4 weeks. Just how much money you make. So yeah, I think I'd rather the DPP guy that could play out the year and cover me if I need it randomly, or than the Johnson who might score better next couple of weeks, but then's out of the team. So I think just thus how desperate you are for 15, 20k, or how desperate you are or if you think you'll trade him out and actually cash him in when he makes, whatever he ends up making in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. So McCarthy's average in the it's 2 in the waffle. I think the others might be VFL.
VFL for
Just
Richmond,
flipped
yeah.
over. I'm just looking up Johnson's on the fly. His is 93 average. It's better. But I guess, maybe we don't really know a lot about McCarthy, but
Yeah.
they've shuffled a few players around in the back line. They've gone through like Dewar, Marriage, Bo
I
Allen for
think
like a
Tom
game and a bit.
Cole is the injured
Yeah,
one apparently.
handball
So
awareness.
I don't
So
know. That's up to
uh,
you. If you think you might need the cash and you have like 8 trades and you think you'll trade out, his money, go for him, I'd say. And then if not, you can always get McCarthy next week
yeah,
after, whatever.
yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people will do McCarthy or ditch Clark on his buy, and then that'll line up perfectly when McCarthy's on the bubble before he goes up in
Yep.
price. I'll probably go Johnson, but I don't even need his money, so I don't even know why I'm doing that. So I'll think about it. I'll work out a few things. But I think he's fine to go there, especially if he needs money over 2 weeks. Should make a quick 100K with that 80 in his system. So about McCarthy. Do you know anything about Hugh Jackson for Port? Because I do not.
Nah.
Okay,
No.
we'll just go Johnson.
All I know is Moraes was the sub, so that's what made me keep Lindsay instead of him.
Yeah.
Absolute death.
And
Moraes
Moreski that
still got
sick goal
subbed
at the
on,
end.
and Moraes
Yeah.
had Did he? Yeah, was that him that kicked that goal? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, great. His break even was only 8, so could have kept him and not lost any money, except kept Lindsay and lose whatever I lost.
Yeah.
No, I don't really know much about. All I know is he got the full game. So have they got any more guys coming back, sort of in that mid,
Colin Francis.
small forward? Yeah, exactly. So obviously I should know that. See what happens there, I guess. Don't think he's
I don't think he's a pressing
nah.
player we need. Johnson with the 18 system's pretty hard to pass up over Jackson. Dewar's the other one, 176K. I don't think we can pay 170 anymore. Played halfback. And he's been a yo-yo. Like he's had some good games and some down games. So he's a no for me at that price.
Yes. Yep. You don't have to be in a real bad cash spot, trade spot, knowing that you're not going to get 23 premiums and just go fuck it. Dewar's my 23rd flex or something, and just go. Maybe he can keep the kick in halfback role rest of the year, and because obviously Marich has been punted from that, so who knows?
Yep.
But most likely no, not an option.
Yep. So
it's an option, but not going to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of targets here, but there's one target that's extremely popular this week over anyone else, and that is Zach Butters. Now, worth noting, potential Langdon tag. I mean, they kind of just pulled this one out for Nick. Do they pull it out for Butters? Potentially a Jordan tag, but I think tags haven't been that effective, and they haven't really used it a lot lately. And then the Chincotta tag, who has tagged him before, which is a pain in the ass because I feel like all my midfielders playing Carlton. Like Merritt's got him again, and I'm sure Sarong does the way things have gone, but that looking. But are you bringing in Zach Butters? And if so, are you concerned with the short-term fixture?
Yeah, of course I'm bringing in Zach Butters. I don't have Bont or go for Bont like everyone in the world seemed to do. So, I mean, Zach Butters, man, like, who tagged him to that 50 this year in the other week? Whoever it was, whatever. I think without that game, he's averaging 130 in 8 weeks or whatever. It's just
O'Sheen.
That's right, O'Sheen. Yeah, did a good job.
For the next 5 at that oval.
Yeah, not second guessing George. I don't think it needs to be overthought.
I think if the tags come, just copper, and there's just monster score around the corner with him. It's going to be a terrible non-own when he's not tagged.
Yeah, but I mean, what happened on the weekend? Bedford had tried it and didn't work, and
moved to Rosie.
Yeah, moved to Rosie, and Zach had 21. I saw some highlights. He just attacks the footy that hard in the contest. I don't think Ed Langdon's a worry for one in that. He ain't going to stop him in that. I'd be more worried about actual Clarion tracks, just his normal opponents. And then, the Chincotta one, is he someone they're going to throw into the actual mid-mix, like at stoppage, or did he tag Merritt because he was at half-back? So,
Must have been.
All George. It's freaking Zach Butters. He can do 120, 125 in his sleep. And my bigger worry about getting Zach Butters is him ramming his head into the post.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting him.
Yeah, me too. I think the next best target this week is your man Nasaya. I think we can agree on that. For
Maybe
those,
not my man, not that part, but yeah, I've got him. Brought him in for a 60, so
didn't you have him? Well, you had him like 2 years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I own him in the past, but this year he has some work to do. Brought him in for a 60 against West Coast.
He's been unlucky. I've watched. He's had a few interruptions. He's gonna 110, I think.
Yeah, I think
I really like
boys. And owning both of them, George, with this run home will be pretty.
I need to get one of them in.
Yeah,
and I can. Thanks to Sheldrick, I can get there, no problem. But we'll see. Bont, I think Bont is he sort of just gone for you, but I think 630 is still expensive. But if you can get him, I think it's maybe
I'd have to be sitting pretty in the last month or something, and someone goes down or something. Bont drops quite a bit. I mean, I've got Eddie Langton. Fuck, I'm not saying that. Eddie Richards, mate, my man.
Yeah,
he's been a great own for 6 weeks or however long I've had him. Great to watch. Yep.
Connor Rosie, I know there's potential tags coming up. I think they'll go to Butters, you'd think, but I think Rosie's been a good target for a long time now. He's kind of just sat at low 500s.
Yeah, I honestly thought he'd be. Yeah, he's more expensive by now, but he's just ticking along. So yeah, if you still don't have him,
I think he had a pair of 90s and a 70, but everything else has been like 115 plus since he's moved to halfback.
Yep.
So
like you said with Butters, Adelaide Oval spam coming up. So
yep. Another one here, 500k for Harry Sheasel in the mid role. We know he can do 105 plus in this role. Hasn't been himself and did play West Coast though. So I think because of the ownership, maybe you can fade. But I think at 500k for someone who started the year 600 plus and would have been 600 plus if that was based on his scoring without the defender stuff last year. I think I'm okay going there for that price with no buy. Yeah. Although, you'd think that there's he's inside mid. I don't see him as a forward personally. Just taking too much value away from what he can do in other areas of the game.
Yeah, I think with him and McKercher like that could work in a team that's actually good and humming. Not for North right now. They need those guys to get the ball. You can't rely on the others to do it. LDU's, I don't know. My North mate's absolutely done with him. Signing the big deal, and looks like the bloke's just done with footy, or I don't even know. As I said, didn't truly watch the game on the weekend, but you need those guys getting their hands on the pill. And right now in a team, they can't get it to them, put them around the ball, and whether that's in defense or how is She's playing half forward? Get fucking Tom Powell out of there. I actually don't care who. Get them all out of there. She's should be in your top two at least. What the fuck? I don't get it. He's your prized possession. He is your piece.
I think
Luke Parker, did he still get he just sent a bounce on the week?
Probably.
Piss off. What? I mean, I traded Sheets, but I still actually want to see him play. I'm fed up with that shit. So yeah. Anyway. I probably wouldn't trade him back in. Any of us who traded him out, you just you did with Horn Francis, yada yada. Just that's it. But if you never owned him and it holds for another week or something, maybe you entertain it. But I don't know. Colby's 100k less, George. So for me, what do I do? Yeah.
I hope your North mates cop it well because a lot of emotional damage watching that team.
Oh, I think most North fans I know, or even we know, just they know themselves. I'd be at my wit's end with that, the way that club does things. I used to hate North, when they were beat us in that final 10 years ago, and then for whatever reason, they were just like one of my hated teams. It's like got to the point now where I'm like feel sorry for them, and I know that sounds privileged because I'm a Richmond fan and we're just as shit, but like they've been shit for that long. Like
Yeah.
it's like you'd actually just want to see them teams like them and the Saints, and maybe not Essendon because who cares? But you know what I'm saying? Like it just gets to the point where it's like, what is even the point of like turning up every year? Like it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
Like they got pummeled by West Coast, like battered, like they got out of jail, but like this should not be happening.
Interesting.
We're not here for not an AFL podcast, George, but anyway, Cheese. If you'd never owned him, like I'd still be nervous of actually trading him in. But
yeah, it was West Coast. I think what he's capable of in the midfield, I think I'm cool with
not
getting
because of Cheese. I mean, kind of because of Cheese. He hasn't had a great year, even when he's had his chances. So I don't blame him wholeheartedly, but he hasn't had the greatest like compared to last year. Even like he was cooking in sort of mid forward role last year.
Yeah.
Move on.
So if you are looking for a player, it's hard to justify Andy over Bont, but I think Andy's just been out of reach all year. It's one of those players like the one that got away that those that didn't start because he's just been like 600 all year, basically 600 to 650. It's hard to get. Like, how do you even get him because you just pay for Bont an extra 30K? But I think if you, for whatever reason, you can't get to Bont, but the next best and you need a mid, I think Andy's the one.
I mean, I don't have that type of money, but
yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's the safest. Played the best, almost. Well, yeah, you'd say the most consistent mid this year, probably in the whole league. Not even talking SuperCoach, like it's just in general, it'd be him. So, I guess Eddie Richards probably the other one. So, yeah. Obviously, I'm not. I mean, if you don't have it, like you'd have to be. I think the people who have money and are doing well have probably had him, George. So, like, the people who don't have him, like, just probably struggling to finish their team. So they're the ones that can't get someone like 600K. So if you can, should go for your life. Yeah, I guess if you've hit like a Sheldrick, you've hit I don't know, McKercher last week, you hit Sandy Brock, hit all them.
Yeah,
you were so close, George. 2 out of 3. He'd probably the best mid, but just be expensive.
I guess good news for us because we have Sarong 6 of the next 8 at Optus. So thanks to North selling their home games.
Good news for us. We have Sarong. That's something I just did not want to hear. That's the worst news.
There's a North and a West Coast and a Saints and Essendon in there. So
yeah, cool. Windhager and whatever. And, yeah.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, it's like almost. We'll stop talking about Andy, but with Butters, that's going to be like impossible. But one for maybe like your last upgrade.
He's sort of saying because like at that price, there's not really anyone else.
Yeah,
it's like there hasn't really been someone besides Andy that's been cooking all year and at that price. Really, I guess Clug's the one. That's like
him. Both of them pretty much similar average.
Yeah.
Another upgrade target, one for Uranono of Horn Francis, but has a 20 in his system. So wait 2 weeks for that 20 to drop out, and I think a couple of tons puts him at about 440. So I'll look at him, but I think I need a defender because I got Nick Martin who can go either way. So probably take Nass over Horn Francis. I think
I prefer a lot of defenders. Over an F6, I'd take. Yep.
Horn Francis has been a terrible non-own. Like I hate him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, like I told you, I mean, obviously not injury. I didn't really say that, but he didn't really like. He went nuclear a couple of games just after you traded him out, of course. But like he didn't keep that up. He had a ton 90. Like, yeah, he didn't go berserk for a long stretch. I think that's what we'll get from him.
Yep.
Rest of the year, hopefully.
Yep. Now I'm going to name 5 players.
Yep.
And you're going to say, if you had the trades to do it, flip them on their buy.
Okay.
Because these 5 players have been raised in the Discord as people that want to trade him out. And a little bit has to do with getting a Butters in.
Yep.
First one, if you had heaps of trades, would you trade out Rankin?
I mean, yeah, but also who's the fault? Like, who's the? It's like
Say
a Jackson
Kennedy,
or a Nick
Kennedy.
Kennedy. God.
And put Warner in that bucket too.
No.
But for either?
Definitely not Warner. Just not for me. Kennedy,
Yeah.
I'd think about because it's like you get an extra game, and his role. I mean, by now seems like it's holding.
Yeah.
So I'd think about him because he's off his bye. Rankin is about to have his right. So I'd think about Chad. Not for me, bro. No, I just keep ranking at that point.
I mean, trade out Chad.
Oh, trade out Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Tennessee
I'd do
Vs.
that. You know where I sit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, the forward line's so weird, George, because I know this question is you have trades, so it's like, okay, we'll do whatever. But it's like, okay, let's be real, George. Not everyone's going to just have trades. So we're answering this question more for people who are like, oh, should I use one of my last 4 or 5 trades and flipping someone?
Yeah.
There's got to be the option to go to. So like Kennedy is either one off by or Shea Bolton, the other one. Like,
I think I'd take Shea over these two, believe it or not.
Or do you flip them to someone else and then, as you said, get like a Horn Francis cheaper later or someone else cheaper later in the buys?
Yeah.
Anyway, this wasn't really quick fire, was it?
Yeah. I mean, if I actually could, I think I'd definitely rather quite comfortably Horn Francis over either. That'd be the one at the last.
Yes, but it's like you can't flip. You want to wait for that to happen for Horn Francis to drop. So it's like you're probably flipping one of them to McKercher or something.
Yeah.
And you flex and then get Horn Francis back and finish your forward line again.
Yeah. I would do that for Horn Francis if it could make it work. Now, there's another 3 names here. A lot of people want to ditch Zorko. Since his hot run last week.
Yeah.
Would you trade Zorko for Nas if you had a free trade?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Okay. Is that because of age or just any other reason in particular?
I mean, I would have said that anyway, but it's actually quite like, not that I care because I love it. I love everyone still having Zorko and actually copying poor scores as opposed to him like just, being a trade out or whatever 8 weeks ago because it's much better that way. But I mean, if you watch this podcast, where me and you sit, George, on Zorko. He's been killing us for years and we're like, when is it going to end? But he's actually had like a long stretch now of pretty average not form, like I guess it is form, but scoring, actual output in SuperCoach, it's been bad for a couple months now.
He had that really nice run early, so that's sort of gone now.
But even still, isn't his fantasy still going all right? He's just really he's just stuffing up kicks and a lot of, classic Zorko clangers where he's giving away frees and 50s always seem to pop up at bad times. I'd be flipping him, dude. If I somehow, I'm so glad I didn't bring him in like a few weeks ago when he was cheap, and I was like, oh, I think I half talked, was considering it for 1 week. Like, I'd be flipping him. No, Nas is just very solid. You know what you're gonna get. Like there was that real bad Nas clanger game, but good Marvel run home. I trust him a little bit more with his body. Like Nas also makes you a bit nervous sometimes because everybody's skinny that kid is, but it is still Zorko's 36 years old, so there's always that risk there. And that buy is a tough one, right, for a lot of people. So
if it's a tough buy, then I think you just get it done for you. That weighs into it. I wouldn't. I've written off Zorko before, and it's been wrong, very wrong.
Yeah, so we tell everyone to trade him out this week, George. So then, if he happens to go all right, it doesn't hurt.
I'm not sure there's a good enough excuse to trade, but unless it's a bad buy and you're worried about the age, then that's when I would do it. But that's up to the individual. 2 more. So Neil and Merritt people are trading. A little bit to do with the buy, and then Merritt's run is O'Sheen Mullen this week, who's blanketed a lot of players. And
Except
then
Eddie
yeah, Red Man. And then Neil's run is potentially a Bedford this week. And then a Chincotta in 4 weeks. People want out. If this was a bad buy for you, would you be flipping either of those, fearing a tag or a few? Because Merritt's actual run for the rest of the season is horrendous for tags.
Yeah, I sort of looked at that with a lot of players when I was trying to see my last few mid spots. Like Noah Anderson was one. I was like a bit iffy on going when he was cheap because he has a lot coming up, and he started to play well through a couple of them. It's like just locks those tags in even more. Merritt the same. Like when he has a big game against Richmond, it's like, yep, you know what, mate, you're getting the tag coming up soon. It's like that's the cycle with these players. Same with like Neil. I feel like Neil's been foxing, so he's like, oh, just go tag Clug, and then he can just like have a good couple of weeks of no attention until he kills it again, and then he gets them. I see the merit, like, pardon the pun, with those guys because there's that it's that tough buy, and then I think Merritt's is way worse than Neil's, right? Like he has like every possible tagger.
Yeah.
So it's
You
like,
just had
damn,
Chincotta's got him again. He's
but
got
it's like he's not
double
even.
O'Sheen Mullen.
I can't read that because he's not even playing midfield the last 2 weeks. So it's like, will they even tag him? It's like, but then it's like, you don't want him if he's playing halfback by the looks of it.
It's been half forward.
Yeah, did he play more half forward in the second half?
I think so.
Or something? Yeah. Look, do we lose money if we say Bredolf Scottler on here?
Nope.
From the famous Theo, because that's one of the greatest things I've ever heard to describe their own coach. Who knows what's going to happen, Josh?
Christoph doesn't have that nickname either.
I would probably trade both of them out, but I'm much more stupid and reckless with my trades, and I don't have any of them. And that buy is actually not that bad for me. So I see what people are doing. Like, why? I see why. I think Zorko would be the easiest to trade out of like all of these ones on the buy that we're talking about. As far as Neil and Merritt goes, it's like, oh, who are you getting? Who are you getting off the buy in the mids? That's not
Butters now.
Is that just what are they doing? Flip the Butters and then do your Kirch and Rookie with your other trades?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. I think it makes sense, especially if it's your way to Butters.
Yeah. Well, I can say I've traded every premium I've traded this year has backfired. So that's all I'll say on that. But you can see the logic with the tags.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up there. Captains, do you have anyone in mind? I'm a Bont owner and a new Butters owner. So Butters, Bont, and Sherry, no Gaunt for me. So I'll cycle through those three, most likely for the rest of the year, unless we have a Richmond or West Coast matchup for somebody else. I've got Bont into Sherry. Bont plays Saints on Thursday at Marvel, and Sherry plays Jackson and Shrek, you would think, on Saturday night.
Yeah. TDK actually didn't do that good against West Coast, did he, last time?
But he scraped a ton, but I think his DT was like 60.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll VC the Eddie on Thursday and see if he can cook St Kilda, or honestly, Max Holmes or Baz against Essendon.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice one as well. Into Cherry.
Yep.
Same day. Something like that, I think. You just trust Cherry with the C the most, so I don't want to VC. You always want to VC Cherry, obviously, but if you do it and then he doesn't have an absolute easy matchup this week, although Jackson's probably still not too bad. I don't trust whacking the C on DeConning, dude. I just don't.
More of a
but
VC.
Butters I do, so it's like I can do that as well. There's actually a lot of options this week. Makes it a bit harder.
Now, if you have gone and you see Dante Vicentini named as the ruck.
I forgot about that. Oh, my God.
You know, the funny thing is I was like, you know, maybe there's a chance, like, as the final upgrade, we get him, and he's still popping 130s, and it's like...
Don't you ever think that, George? No
it's like...
that.
And that's the thing. Like, I just chose the antibody. It was too expensive, and you kind of hope a bad one comes, and it hasn't come. Like, there was a few that were potential bad ones, and then he just takes 3 contested intercepts in the last quarter, like 3 of the last 4 weeks, and it's like, well, at least he didn't go 200. He went 140. So,
I mean,
so
yeah, this isn't controversial. Like, he's universally loved in the AFL world, Maxi. Like, he's just done so much for that club. Always fronts the media, always like takes the blame, or like he's sticking up so many peanuts in that. Like, not peanuts, it's probably a bit harsh, but he's always the guy that's just giving it his all every week, and has always had to, diffuse all these spot fires that the rest of them always put out there. So you'd love Max to just, I don't know, take a few weeks off, but it just ain't gonna happen, man. Like, while he can play and he's in this form and he's still healthy, like, he's just gonna go out there every week.
Well, it's funny. He
do
was
his
on
best.
he was on plus 200 plus or plus 200 podcast, which I only learned. It's called that podcast because they're all over 200 centimeters.
Oh, come on, shorts.
I didn't realize that. Well, they had Max going on, and he said that there's no way he's playing 23 games. I think he kind of said it as a joke, but I think he will because he's him.
I guess only if they just were done for finals and it's round 21 and it's like 5-day break. I haven't checked the fixture, but you know what I mean? Like, maybe then it's like Max goes, you know what? Roll out Tommy Campbell or whatever it is. But yeah, no reason. Nice. He has obviously not a long time left in the game, so it's like, he can play, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He really has an injury.
There's no point in
speculating. There isn't, except the fate. The man's the GOAT, Ruckman, and it's like, at least there's someone else we own that's like competing with him. Like, imagine if there wasn't him, he was unattainable like he is. It'd be like pure death. And like I said 6 weeks ago or whatever, those who have both and got them at nice price, the one they got traded in, happy bloody days, because you're probably cooking.
I was going through the top 20 teams in the AFL or in the SuperCoach ranks. Go on, Sherry. Go on, Sherry. Go on, Sherry. Go on, Sherry.
There it is.
You can't compete. No. It is what it is. I guess it's just, next year, be careful. The guys that have this ceiling and they're at that price, you don't even think. A bit like you, same with Butters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway.
We'll wrap it up. Your trades this week?
What have I done? So Matty Roberts to Kirch. What's that get? 50-something K. Whacking that on Lindsay. I already had a bit in the bank, and so Lindsay to Butters basically. And then I'm going Shannon Neal. Obviously got to go, and it's just like, do I get Zach Johnson or do I just get McCarthy? And it'll keep me having sort of the same amount in the bank. I'll keep like 130, 40K in the bank or whatever. And that'll be able to be used with Angus Clark once he gets to what he does, and like a Peddler, or I've still got Archer Reed as well. So turn 2 of those into like Mills or a F6, cheap F6 and a 99K. Then I'll be down to big old 4 trades with 22 and Shelley at flex, and see what I decide to do after that. I mean, I could obviously trade Shelley and get to somewhere in 1, and then it's like I'll have no F6, but then it's like no, got to milk the most I can out of Shelley. And Molly's got a good roll, George. I think we hold on, we see what happens.
Yeah, he's in my team for 2 weeks. 285s projected to get to 400, which would be a big win. So the bars are like just a couple of 65s to get to 100. No, a couple of 75s to get to 150K.
I mean, what's his points per minute in the midfield in the last 3? Like, you're probably underrating him there. Like, I know he could have a bad kicking game and then just go to shit, but if the role holds, George, like, he could keep doing 85, 90, no worries, to be honest.
Yeah. They got much bigger problems than him in that 22. They're like their bottom, like your Corey Warner, your Cleary, a few others, like a few of their keys. I think
fourth on Sydney for points per minute this year.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like we all like he was my number one rook. When I did my rookie ranks, I had him number one as for fielding, and I don't know what happened early in the year. Something went wrong. No idea. But you can see like he's done this. I just go off past data. He's done this before in 2 years ago. So we'll wrap it up there. I got the same trades as you, same ins, McKercher, Butters, and then McCarthy or Johnson in as the last one. Getting rid of Lindsay, Sandy, and who's the other one? And Roberts. Yeah, Sandy, Roberts, Lindsay. It's pretty much the same trades as you,
pretty
really.
similar. Yeah.
And then I'll be sitting on 6 trades with Sheldrick at M10 because of my 9 mids, and then he'll be cashed in for him, and Clark will be cashed into whoever I can get to.
F6? Oh, sorry. D6, is it?
Yep. So Sheldrick can get to 380, Clark can get to 200, plus I got 60 in the bank. Or Clark should get to he's got 70 in the system. Anyway, whoever roughly like mid to low 500s. So whoever's there, we'll grab him. Wrap it up.
No worries.
Thanks again, Eno. Love the new setup. Maybe stick to it.
Only 1 week, mate. I'll be back at the desk next week, hopefully.
Yeah. See how we go. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.